option from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Looking for a bigger bonus? Well, WMBS and the Pennsylvania Lottery want to give you a big shot at it. Starting Thursday, February 5th, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 when you hear
Trip, triple.
And you'll win 6 $5 big bonus triple play scratch-off tickets. This game delivers triple the excitement with 15 top prizes of $130,000. Play today. Benefits older Pennsylvanians. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
The Seahawks are going to Super Bowl 60. It's a rematch with the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara.
Sunday, February 8th, complete coverage of the big game is on Westwood One. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Graham. Join Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner, Laura Oakman, Gene Steratore, Ryan Harris, and me for all the action right here.
Sunday starting at 5 here on WMBS.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk producing the show. Hey, Nick, you and I should apologize to our listeners. The Penguins were on a nice winning streak. You and I went to the game last night with some other friends, and they lost the game. I think we can take the blame for it.
There's absolute correlation between us being in the arena and the Penguins losing. Not the players, not the coaches, none of that. It was you and I, Doug.
You and I being there, yeah, absolutely. They take on the Islanders tonight.
Just our mere presence offended the Penguins. Wow, we must be really bad.
I think that was it. So, yeah, we start out with a light note, but on some pretty serious notes, bizarre things in the news these days, Nick. How about this story of Dr. Joe Biden, the former First Lady's ex-husband, arrested for murder?
Yeah.
Obviously, that has nothing to do with Dr. Biden. But a really bizarre, in an era where we take an unprecedented, I don't know if we've ever had a former First Lady have an ex-husband that's been arrested for murder. Horrible situation, but really bizarre. And this story about Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy.
Yeah, how about
looks like she's been kidnapped.
I didn't believe it at first, and then it was actually on the Today Show. I'm like, well, they wouldn't make this up. That'd be a horrible joke. I thought it was an internet rumor, but wow.
Yeah, that's truly bizarre, and I can't imagine having a member of your family just missing. And they said almost in the very beginning that they thought it was criminal activity. It wasn't as if they suddenly. And it's fun now they're asking neighbors to check their doorbell cameras to see if there's any indication. I mean, obviously the investigation goes on. The sheriff's office in that county is releasing what they can, but naturally they don't release all the information that would. It could compromise their investigation. But we hope that one turns out well. And they said there was no way she could have walked away. She has mobility issues. She couldn't walk more than 50 yards, they said. So, yeah, very strange situation. Super Bowl coming up, Nicholas. Are you rooting for one as opposed to the other? I think we have to root against New England, I would think. And tomorrow, Speaking of the Super Bowl, we're going to check in with Dr. Audrey Gusky. She is, of course, with Duquesne University. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl ads. First time, I don't ever recall this happening before. They're releasing the ads beforehand. I thought that the whole idea was...
They've done that for a few years now. Yeah, they've done that for a few years now. I don't like it. I try to avoid it, to watch it live on the day of the game.
See what this one's going to be back. And coming up here in just a minute, we're going to check in with the Capitol reporter for Spotlight PA, Stephen Caruso. The governor today gave his budget address for fiscal year 2026-2027. Of course, they just finally passed the budget for this fiscal year a few months ago. So now this one is due by June 30th. So we're going to talk to him about what the governor had to say today. And then we'll also talk to him about the response from the legislature, both sides of the aisle, the Republicans, Democrats, what they had to say. I think those will probably fall in line with what most people would think. But we haven't talked to Steve in a while, so we're going to check in with him. The Pennsylvania Healthcare Association has a new proposal, a new initiative called Care for the Aging. I know there's been an ongoing issue with enough workers in the long-term care workforce. So the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, which is the trade association for nursing homes generally, assisted living facilities, that sort of thing, memory care locations. They're the trade association for them. We're going to talk to Tara Ober, who is Director of Communications for that organization, about this new initiative. Again, it's called Care for the Aging. Then in the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to check in with Jeff Gilbert, CBS News automotive industry analyst. Consumer Reports has come out, with their top 10 vehicles for 2026. And right now, joining us on the WVU Medicine Hospital Talk Line, again from Spotlight, PA, Capitol reporter Stephen Caruso. Stephen, thanks for joining us today. Another long address by the governor on his budget. We wanted to talk to you about that and also the response from the legislature. First off, explain to folks who may not be familiar the purpose of, it's pretty obvious by what it said, but the governor's budget address is sort of his state of the state address, I guess, correct?
Well, so I think that's a really good question because, the funny part about it is that you can take it in either direction. You can take it as, I am just going to go up there and tell you how I want to spend the state's money, how much money we're bringing in, how much money we're driving out, what I'm going to use it on, do we need to raise taxes, focus on the finances. And there's a lot of stuff that, the state pays for. Education, police, roads, bridges, public transit, healthcare, go down the list. Tons and tons of things. So just in the universe of stuff the state spends on, you could talk for 2 hours. I could do that. But it also can serve as something like a state of the state, a state of the union, where it turns into something that's more of a statement on priorities outside of the budget or inside of the budget. It turns into more of a, what is the direction of our state? What is the philosophy that I believe? You can use it to, build an ideological project. And I would say this was a speech where, look, we know what the governor is going to do. He pitched a $53.3 billion spending plan. It is going to put more money into public education, as we've seen in past budgets. It's going to put more money into public transit, at least come 2027. A lot of money is going to have to go into the state's healthcare program for low-income people, our Medicaid program. But that was kind of hidden. You didn't know what to listen for within the speech, which lasted about almost 90 minutes. He spent a lot of time talking about what I think, has been referred to as affordability, or, you call it abundance, you call it whatever, but the idea that some really basic parts of our modern lives, housing, that's not modern, but definitely, and then energy costs are too high, and all the things he wants to do to address it. And some of that costs money, some of it isn't. Some of it's going to require a lot of hard bargains between lawmakers and not really follow a lot of partisan lines. But, we live in a partisan era. We live in and it's an election year. The governor's up for re-election. And it's going to be really interesting to watch how he navigates and how legislators who, want to get reelected probably want, to solve problems. But, these are tough issues that don't easily, fall, I think, directly along party lines. How all of this kind of gets thrown up in the air in the coming months.
Yeah, it's interesting. Of course, this fiscal year in Pennsylvania starts on July 1st. And goes to June 30th of next year. Federal budget fiscal year starts on October 1st, and most local governments use the calendar year. They start January 1st. So the idea, of course, this would have to be passed by June 30th. The current fiscal year's budget, frankly, wasn't passed fully until just a few months ago, correct? And
right, yeah, it was 135 days late.
Right, and there's been delays in the past. The difference is back in my day when I was working in Harrisburg, state employees, the legislature, everybody did not get paid until the budget was passed, similar to what happens to the federal government with delays. But now state employees do get paid. However, what was delayed, I suppose, was funding going out to agencies that implemented required programs by county. That was great. That really caused hardship for a lot of counties, correct?
Yeah, that was a huge issue last year. We saw county nonprofits, lots of groups that rely on the state to, they basically serve as the state giving them tax money to make sure that people who suffer through domestic violence can, find a safe place to stay, to, help with mental health treatment, to help with substance abuse treatment, also help people with disabilities, like kids with disabilities get care. All of them suffered because the state didn't have a deal. Because it meant they didn't have money, and nonprofits don't have deep cash reserves. It's basically just like, there's that line of people throw around, what is it, 70% of Americans maybe can't handle financially sudden $600 expense. I mean, what you're effectively doing, the nonprofits and counties and all these groups, is saying well, how are you going to suddenly handle a, $5 million expense, stretched out over a couple months? And I should say this budget has nothing to kind of make amends for that. A lot of these groups would have maybe gone into debt. They had to go take out loans, lines of credit in order to deal with the fact that the state wasn't kicking money. There's nothing to address that, and that's actually a dynamic that I need to poke on more in the coming weeks, because it's funny how much the governor's address, he noted that the budget was late. He said it can't happen again, but talking to legislative leaders and the governor, people almost want to pretend that what happened last year just didn't happen and move on. I mean, there are lessons. I don't want to be maybe that stark, but when it comes to who was harmed by a lack of a budget, there hasn't been a lot of addressing of that.
Yeah, I mean, there were counties that were forced to either take out loans to cover expenses, and I know the state treasurer, Stacey Garrity, at one point was providing interest-free loans, and other counties ended up laying off workers, and not all of them were brought back following that. So Westmoreland County was an example of that, not far from our station. We're, of course, located in Fayette County, as you know. The ongoing budget battles like this are just that. This starts the budget season, of course, where the appropriations committees in the House and the Senate hold hearings, and the budget secretaries come in, and then they get questioned on that and just about everything else, frankly. I used to work for a state senator who was on the appropriations committee when I worked in Harrisburg, and I would sit through those hearings, and let me tell you, you have to get a lot of sleep the night before and a lot of caffeine to get through those hearings at times. They drone on and on. So what was the response from the legislature? I'm guessing it was down the line partisan. The Democrats supporting the governor's plan and the Republicans questioning it, I suppose. That doesn't take a lot of quick analysis on my part to come up with that. But you're the reporter. Tell us what happened.
So what I'd say is, I think you're broadly right in terms of the broad brushstrokes of this budget, especially on the spending level. Democrats are saying, the governor's proposal tries to put forward real solutions for people in Pennsylvania who are just trying to, keep a head on rent, make sure they can find a therapist who needs it, make sure that their kid is, going to a, safe school, and maybe can't afford or people who are struggling with their utility bills. That's a lot of what this budget is about. And, House Majority Leader Matt Bradford very specifically said, Josh Shapiro is very popular. If Senate Republicans want to be run over by continue to be obstructionist, that's them. And I think in that sense, there's a lot in this budget cycle that's going to be dependent upon setting everything up for the 2026 election, when the House is up and half the Senate is up, and Democrats really want to flip that upper chamber. It's been in Republican hands for almost continuously since 1980. So, with all that said, then Republicans, though, they opposed it because of the spending. They're pointing out rightly that the state has a structural deficit. This plan does nothing to get rid of that structural deficit. The governor did call for the legalization of marijuana and the regulation and taxation of skill games, those slot-like devices that are in bars and convenience stores that people might have seen. But that won't cover all the spending spending hikes have been proposed. So, the state would still be dipping into its reserves to pay for this year's budget, and that's their red line. They don't want to spend more, and there's even more spending that we could get into. But so for Republicans, in that way, they're opposed. But again, I'd say under the hood on these fundamental issues, how do you address housing? How do you address utility costs? I think there's a lot of room for bipartisanship. It's just a matter of, can people get there in an election year, and how much kind of hemming and hawing does it take to get everybody on the same page? It's possible, but again, kind of part of the process is people yelling at each other.
Yeah, it's a long process, obviously, and a complicated one when you have a divided government. Aren't that many states in the nation who have one side of the Capitol under control of one party and the other side under the other? I think there's only about 5 or 6 have a divided government like this. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen. Yeah, there was a time when a governor would give both a budget address and then a State of the Commonwealth address. That State of the Commonwealth address doesn't happen lately, has it?
No. As I said, it's just a budget address that kind of can become something like a State of the Commonwealth address. But that's all.
Yeah, there used to be two. The governors would give two, and it was kind of puzzling because they often would say very similar things in both of those addresses. As we talk with Stephen Caruso, Capitol reporter for Spotlight PA. We haven't had you on in a while, Stephen, so we appreciate your joining us today. Tell the folks what Spotlight PA is and how they can follow your reporting and the reporting of your colleagues.
Yeah, so Spotlight PA is a nonprofit newsroom that focuses on covering state government, local government, and state college, and in the Berks Reading area. We are really focused on, I'd say, accountability and trying to break down things to make it understandable, because our state government is not always constructed in a way that makes it easy to understand. And you can find our work at spotlightpa.org. Or in many of the fine newspapers that still dot the Commonwealth. A lot of our work is being published there. For free, I should add.
There we go. Stephen, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking time to join us. We'll be checking back in with you and your colleagues as this process moves along. A busy year in Harrisburg, of course, election year affects everything. Thanks so much.
Yeah, happy to chat. Thank you so much.
Right.
Bye.
Thank you. Hey, we're going to take a break right now, folks. When we come back, we're going to check in with Tara Ober from the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association about a new initiative that they put together. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
Ready to score big on your next home? Well, great news. Huge savings are waiting for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. From open floor plans perfect for game day parties to energy-efficient homes that will help you save money all season long, these homes are built to deliver. Don't wait on the sidelines. Make the winning play today and find the home that fits your family and lifestyle. Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon at 4500 Route 51.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. Couples Comedy with married comedians Tom Cotter and Carrie Louise comes to the State Theater Center for the Arts Friday, February 13th at 8 p.m. for a hilarious Valentine's performance. An America's Got Talent Season 7 finalist and one of the funniest comics today, Tom Cotter, and Carrie Louise, a Last Comic Standing finalist, are sure to make it an uproarious Galentine's night out. For tickets, call 724-439-1360 or online at statetheater.info. Recommended for those 16 and over. If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show. On a, my gosh, it's like a heat wave out there. We're looking at 30 degrees right now outside our Davis and Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. A lot colder up on the ridges. Farmington showing 22 degrees. But that's not going to last long. We're going down to about 10 degrees tonight, and they're talking about more snow this weekend, Nick, and then more snow beyond that midweek next week. Usually we don't worry too much about forecasts that are 7 days out, but they sure got it right last time around when they were predicting a foot of snow about 10 days out, and they certainly got that right. We want to thank again Steve Caruso for joining us from Spotlight, PA, Capitol reporter for Spotlight about the governor's budget address today, and, of course, the response from both sides of the aisle in the legislature. We appreciate him reporting on that as well. Another C. Harper High School sports night tonight. We'll go to that at 6:30 for the Sprouse Insurance Group pregame show. But before that, Nick, we have to do our work, right? Before we have fun and play sports, we have to do the work of the Afternoon Drive show. I know that sounds a little silly, but what the heck. Joining us right now, the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, the Director of Communications for the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, Tara Ober. Tara, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, busy day in Harrisburg, obviously, with the governor's budget address, sort of a combination budget address and State of the Commonwealth address as well. But we wanted to talk to you about your organization, the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, and a new initiative that the organization has now launched called Care for the Aging. Tell us the reasoning behind it and what your hopes are for this.
Yes, it's certainly a busy day. We were really proud to launch our Care for the Aging initiative, an initiative of the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association. Care for the Aging, really the sole purpose is to educate Pennsylvanians about careers in long-term care. I'm sure many of your listeners are aware that the healthcare workforce shortage continues to be a challenge. And the purpose of carefortheagingpa.org is to educate the public about careers in long-term care, how we can support seniors in our state. We do have one of the oldest states in the country with the ages of seniors, the amount of seniors who are aging out, growing quicker every day, and really just wanting to show what the pathways are for different careers in long-term care. They're not just direct care. They could be landscaping, dining, activities. There's so many different ways to get involved and support our aging residents.
Yes, the issue of organizations like that, the nursing home organizations, we'll just use that as a generic term, but it does include more than what most people think as skilled nursing home. It's assisted living and other types of care as well, correct?
That's correct. So we're talking about post-acute care. So once they come out of the hospital or when their needs are such that they need skilled nursing care, assisted living, personal care, or rehabilitative care. That's what we're focused on here.
Yeah. And the shortage of workers in that industry was an issue before pandemic, and pandemic literally put the problem in high gear or low gear, how you might look at it. That really did exacerbate the issue, didn't it?
It sure did. I was working in a facility in long-term care during COVID, and just the need for people to be on the floor providing care to residents, but also to be in our kitchen and providing meals for people and to care for the landscaping, all that, and taking precautions into account and not knowing what the virus, what the makeup of it was in the beginning, and people being scared of how it was transmitted, just having come across something that we've never seen before. It definitely exacerbated things, and we know that long-term care really took a hit during COVID because older people tend to have more comorbidities. They tend to have other things that are wrong with them. They're immunocompromised. And so definitely post-COVID, there is a little bit of a hesitancy, I think, to get involved in long-term care.
Yeah, so tell us about Care for the Aging, and you mentioned it has its own website, carefortheaging.org, and of course your organization, Pennsylvania Healthcare Association, phca.org. But tell us about Care for the Aging. How is this going to address that issue? What are the steps being taken to help your members and that long-term care community throughout Pennsylvania? How will this initiative provide for more workers?
Perfect. Yes. So what we're looking to do is to kind of adjust the stigma around long-term care by educating the public on what a career in long-term care is. It's a rewarding career. There's skilled nursing facilities, as we mentioned, but also assisted living, personal care. It really is, there's career growth potential. It's a stable career. And there really is that heartfelt reward in caring for others as they age. And carefortheagingpa.org really kind of defines and gives pathways so that, if you can come into a long-term care facility as an activities person and get a CNA certification and then kind of move up the nursing line if you wanted to. It goes through all the different pathways of different careers in long-term care, as well as what the training programs, education, and certification processes would be to enter the field. In addition, we're equipping tomorrow's workforce by giving students the tools to investigate what these kind of careers might be. And with our 400 members across the state, students would easily be able to job shadow, have an internship, or a career day at a facility to gain more knowledge, and also have the opportunity to gain credit for their own pathway to graduation. So really kind of going about it in a lot of different ways. In addition, for our members, we have a job board as part of carefortheagingpa.org where they can post open positions, all the qualifications, and it can be narrowed by location. So as people are looking for what opportunities there would be as in a career in long-term care, they have those resources right at their fingertips and can contact the facility directly for additional information.
Yeah. You said a moment ago about moving into the nursing profession. You talked about CNAs. Some people may not be familiar with that, those three letters. Explain what that is, and again, this idea of moving through that career path.
Sure. So a CNA is a certified nurse aide, and it requires a training and a certification. And then they're providing direct care to residents in a long-term care facility. Once you become a CNA, the opportunities for growth there would be to go to school and get your LPN or your RN. There's a lot of different pathways once you come in as a direct care person throughout the continuum of care. When I worked in a long-term care facility, there were students who were in dining that were in nursing school, and they were working in dining at the long-term care facility until they were certified and able to work in a resident care position. So there are a lot of opportunities. Some people might shy away from direct patient care, and they would like to, be in maintenance or in housekeeping or facilities. And there's just a lot of different opportunities, therapy, activity, social services, even up to and through administrating a long-term care facility.
Yeah. And, of course, long-term care facilities come in very different types. Many years ago, I was on the board of directors of a nonprofit nursing home. Frequently, those are religious-based organizations, but there are for-profit, nonprofit, and I assume are all those not all, but are the variety of types part of your organization?
They are, yes. And so you had asked PHCA, the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association. We advocate to Congress for our members and what they need to do their jobs well and to serve our aging community. So our members are, we educate them. We have continuing education credits, but we also really are advocating their voice to legislators in trying to affect change on their behalf.
Yeah. And, of course, in addition to working for your memberships, you also lobby in Harrisburg on their behalf, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Let me ask a question. Let's talk about, and you shared this with me earlier, a study, Care Across the Continuum, How Healthcare Workforce Shortages Affect Pennsylvania's Access to Care. And it is often the case, your organization worked with other organizations, Leading Age PA, the Hospital and Healthcare Association of Pennsylvania. Tell us what that was about. And, of course, that was the workforce survey that was done last year, correct?
Yes. The workforce survey we did in collaboration, as you mentioned, with Leading Age and the Hospital Association to really drive home the point to the public and to legislators that the challenge for getting qualified people in the workforce of healthcare is dire. And one of the things I'd like to call out specifically was one of the things that we learned in the survey was that the Department of Labor and Industry projected that every year through 2032, the Commonwealth will need just shy of 9,000 more registered nurses and over 11,000 more CNAs or certified nursing assistants to replace those leaving the workforce and meet the increasing demand for care, because every day people are getting older and needing more care. Every year. That's not just from now to 2032, we need 9,000 and 11,000. It's that amount every year. So I think that really kind of drives home the point of the desperation, for lack of better word, that we're in, and why we're trying to really cultivate a more stable workforce in healthcare.
Yeah, and of course, they're different organizations, but the Pennsylvania Healthcare and Health System Association, obviously, they're working on the same issues: lack of nurses, lack of CNAs and other people who work at hospitals, etc. But let me ask you the question, and I'm not quite sure how to pose this question, but this idea of 9,000 nurses needed every year, is that 9,000 more nurses, or is that, it's obviously not a total of 9,000 you need in the state, is it? Or is it you need additional every year, you need to find 9,000 more?
Yes, 8,890 more nurses every year.
Okay, in addition to the ones that obviously are staying on the job, have not moved into other careers, have not retired, that sort of thing. So that is the effort every year. That's not chump change. That's a lot of workers you need. And over the years, there's been push to have more nurses on units, more healthcare providers on units. And frankly, in many cases, that forces healthcare providers and long-term care just to simply they can't open a unit. They don't have enough workers. And as a result, there's less opportunity for people needing that care to get it, correct?
That's exactly right. And then that puts pressure on the hospitals, because if a facility has to close a unit or take beds offline, then hospitals who are looking to discharge a patient to a post-acute care setting is unable to do that. It kind of backs up the whole system. So that's why we really do have a collaborative effort with the Hospital Association, as well as Leading Age, who is an advocacy organization just like we are. It's a cohesive approach to really getting the word out about that this isn't just kind of like, oh, it's challenging and we'll work through it. It is a dire situation that really needs attention.
Yeah, and I was taking a look too at some of the pieces of legislation that your organization, PHCA, is pushing for, including even allowing 11th and 12th graders to earn elective credits towards graduation if they are employed while in high school in long-term care. That's pretty innovative.
Yes, and actually that bill just passed this evening. So that's kind of hot off the press news. So that's a really exciting one. I'm not sure how familiar your listeners might be, but the pathways for graduation for high school students changed last year and kind of adjusted some things and created more avenues for people who, students who don't necessarily, do well on a Keystone test or something like that. That's not the way that they learn. There are these alternate pathways where they can still earn enough credits for graduation. And before mentioning like the job shadowing and the internship possibilities at long-term care facilities, this Senate bill will take it a step further to formalize that juniors and seniors in high school can earn credits simply by getting involved in their local facilities and really affecting, helping to kind of solve this workforce issue. So it's a really big deal. We're really excited about it. That just kind of happened to clear the Senate floor right before your call.
Okay, breaking news. See, that's why we do this sort of thing. That's Senate Bill 116. Maybe we'll get the prime sponsor of that bill on the air with us tomorrow. So here, I'll do show prep right over the air. Whose bill was that,
That's
by the way?
perfect.
Do you happen to know?
Let me just check quickly.
All right. We're doing show prep right here during the show, folks, on the afternoon drive show. We are talking with Tara Ober, Director of Communications for the Pennsylvania Healthcare Association. What I just did in radio terms is put a guest on the spot asking a question that I did not. We always discuss what we're going to talk about ahead of time, of course. I didn't do that one on this particular bill, but I didn't realize it had just passed today. In fact, there's 3 bills. Senate Bill 114 would modernize nurse aid training. Senate Bill 115 allows caregivers in personal care homes and assisted living facilities to take a skills and competency exam in lieu of a high school diploma or GED. And, of course, the bill we're talking about right now, allowing 11th and 12th graders to earn up 2 elective credits towards graduation if they are employed in long-term care. So that's
Yes.
called filler I just put in there. And
Yes, I know. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to look that up. And it's confirmed that it is Senator David Argel who sponsored that bill. And we've been working closely with him and his staff, and really, really excited to see this kind of cross the finish line.
And now this goes over to the House, of course, and they would have to either pass a similar bill. It goes to conference where they work on the final, and then goes to the governor. So we'll see what happens on that one. So there. Sometimes folks ask, Doug, how do you come up with ideas for guests? Well, there, I just did it right on the air. And we'll call David Argel, Senator Argel's office, and see if he's able to join us tomorrow to talk about that piece of legislation. Again, Tara, we appreciate your taking. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that would be a great transition right into Senator Argel tomorrow. So glad to help out with that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll give you credit for that one when we're on the air.
Thanks so much.
If we get him for that interview tomorrow. Tara Ober, thanks so much. We appreciate you bringing us up to speed on the latest for your organization and this new initiative. I come from a family of nurses, and I know nursing shortages is a long-term problem, and it takes a lot of work to address it. Not just nurses, but all healthcare workers, especially in long-term care. Tara, thanks so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
All right. We're going to take a break here, folks. When we come back, Nick and I are going to wrap up the first hour of the afternoon drive show on it's like a heat wave out there, but the lows tonight, the forecast, I said a moment ago, 10 degrees. It's going to hit 10 degrees in Pittsburgh, Uniontown, more around 14, 16 degrees, but still another cold night out there. Nick will give you that full forecast coming up during the 6 o'clock news as well. Some snow flurries right now around the region. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
When you need notary services, trust the best. Sandy Howell Notary Services, back-to-back gold medal winner for Best Notary in Fayette County. They're here for you with extended hours to fit your schedule. Sandy Howell's also the 2025 gold medal winner for Best Title Company. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call 724-564-8955 today for Sandy Howell Notary Services, where excellence is signed and sealed.
Hi, I'm Jason Brady, the owner of Brady's Rad Cafe, the new restaurant in Uniontown Mall near JCPenney's. Join us for our selection of unique burgers and hot dogs, steak and meatball hoagies, and more. Always fresh and made right here by friendly people in a welcoming throwback atmosphere at Brady's Rad Cafe. No frozen fast food, always fresh and fun at Brady's Rad Cafe in the Uniontown Mall near JCPenney's.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future health care expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, or Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075. When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
We're wrapping up hour 1 of today's afternoon drive show in your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk. We're with you till 6:30 tonight. It's another C. Harper Auto Group. C. Harper Auto Group High School Sports Night tonight. The Sprouse Insurance Group pregame show starts at 6:30. Laurel Highlands at Uniontown will both be on the radio, 590 AM, 101.1 FM. As well. And, of course, on video on YouTube as well. And then that'll be followed by Pitt at Virginia, men's basketball, University of Pittsburgh basketball tonight. Here's an interesting afternoon drive show factoid, Nick. Are you ready for this? I want you to pay close attention to this.
I can't even imagine.
We are halfway there. Yeah, we are halfway there on winter. As of 9:54 p.m. tonight, it is the exact midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. Spring begins March 20th at 10:46 a.m. So at 9:50. So as you're listening to the game tonight, the Pitt game on WMBS, at 9:54, you'll know we're exactly half done with winter. But
feels like we should be farther along than that, Doug. I mean, I'm ready to be over now, right?
We've had a ton of winter. Nick will give you the full forecast coming up. But again, looking at temperatures dropping into the mid-teens tonight, down to 10 degrees based on where you are in southwestern Pennsylvania. Tomorrow's highs, mid-20s, and then lows for the next several days don't get above about 14 degrees, down to 0 and below 0 this weekend into next week. The first time we get above freezing is not until a week from today. We'll hit 30. It's scheduled to, or forecast to hit about 36 degrees in southwestern Pennsylvania a week from today. So I don't see that snow melting anytime soon. Coming up, right after the national and local news, sports, and weather, we're going to check in with CBS News automotive industry analyst Jeff Gilbert. Consumer Reports has come out with its top 10 vehicles for 2026. Of course, that includes cars, trucks, SUVs. We're going to talk to Jeff, Pittsburgh's own Jeff Gilbert, about that list. All that coming up on the afternoon drive show here on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. Don't forget, you can always follow us on Facebook. I'm doing the show remotely today, but it's always on Facebook. I'll be in studio tomorrow for the show. It goes a little later tomorrow, but it's good to have you with us tonight. Stick around. CBS News is next on your local station, WMBS Uniontown, followed by local news, sports, and weather with Nick. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug. That's Nick. News is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper in the Oval Office.
It's signed. Thank you.
President Trump signs a spending bill ending the 4-day partial government shutdown. Details from our Cammie McCormick.
The measure funds most of the government through September 30th while providing the Department of Homeland Security with short-term funding for 2 weeks while lawmakers negotiate potential changes to ICE operations as Democrats demanded.
Of the demands that were made, the requests that were made, many of those are already being implemented.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
The roving patrols will be modified. There are a lot of things that I think were thoughtful suggestions that would have already been implemented by Mr. Homan and others who are in charge of all this. And so I think we can get to an agreement. I certainly hope that's true.
Also taking place on Capitol Hill today, a forum arranged by Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal and Congressman Robert Garcia focused on the use of force by Homeland Security agents. Brent and Luke Ganger were among the speakers. Their sister Renee Good was shot to death in her car last month by ICE agents in Minneapolis. Brent Ganger saying of his sister,
"As a mother, Renee poured herself